Inside is Bo Burnham's third comedy special on Netflix. But this one makes itself stand out as one being filmed with no crowd, and in the entire span of the film, shot in a single room. Bo Burnham delivers a one-man masterpiece, as he uses comedy to deliver a gut punch, perfect for 2021. In this special, you get a deep look into the character of Bo Burnham and his evolving mental state as he makes the special throughout the year. All in one room, and under 2 hours, he delivers several powerful images with a showcase of a master level of cinematography and lighting, bringing intrigue and story into every frame. With his music, he uses the disguise of comedy to deliver a metaphysical and insightful experience into his world and how he views the world outside his room.
Wow.
I love how he goes out of his way to show like the process and the setup of everything. He shows the actual work and effort that goes into making a video and a special. He shows the behind the scenes process and him setting up cameras and looking at different angles. It's honestly just so interesting how he does all this by himself in his room and how he frames everything, puts everything into perspective, especially for like a YouTuber like me, which is something you just don't see in like anything else. And I think that's pretty cool and gives it another level of relatability to it. I love the shot of the camera, right, and how the darkness is in the lens, kind of shows like the root of his depression, kind of. That's what I interpret from it anyway. Like the darkness kind of is all inside that camera, and the camera is kind of just an abyss. He records, he puts it out there for viewers, and it's really up to them to decide what they think about what he made. He has no idea from where he's at right now, but he'll have to wait until it's out there to show it. He made this whole thing throughout a whole year, and he has no idea if people will like it or not. You can really see the intensity and depression in that camera, and I like it. With this special, Bo really emphasizes how alone he feels and dares to present the question to the audience: can comedy exist without people? With this song entitled Comedy, he presents this question along with his childhood notion of making the world a better place through comedy, and wonders if comedy is the best way to help people, or if by doing so, he is ignoring tragedies for a selfish goal. All these shots and what he's saying are just so beautiful, and it matches up everything with like his tone. If you just heard these by himself, yeah, you might get the meaning to the songs, but you don't get to see his emotions behind it, and here he shows like, that actual second part of what he's making. He's showing his process, his mentality, his anger, his depression. He's showing all those emotions through the framing and the scenes and the lighting, and it's just amazing how he does all that. As some people may not know, Bo Burnham started his career actually as a YouTuber. He made comedy songs on his YouTube channel as a kid and earned fame and notoriety enough to be signed on a tour around the world as a professional comedian, bringing his musical and unusual form of comedy with him. In some of his scenes, he calls out a lot of content seen from other YouTubers.
Welcome to whatever this is.
And he shows what amazing work he can do as a former YouTuber in one room. Just like how YouTubers make content in their room. Like here, where he's reacting to a song, and then he reacts to that reaction of his song about unpaid interns, then he reacts to that reaction. And it gets a little bit more trippy, because I'm making a video right now reviewing his special, right? And you know, it got really trippy because I was actually recording myself watching it, so it's just like recording another reaction to his reactions of his reaction of himself, you know what I'm saying? That even is super meta right there, and I love meta stuff. He has a great talent of pulling on the heartstrings or turning the perspective. He shows this with white woman's Instagram. At first you're laughing at all these classic tropes, and then he hits you with a "Mama, I miss you."
I'm just sitting with you in the front yard, still figuring out how to keep living without you.
And then you start crying.
Better, but it's still hard. Mama, I got a job I love and my own apart.
Scenes like this, you know, he just laid out all of his camera equipment, but you know, it's a really deep and moving scene. You know, it's just like everything in the special is intentional. Everything in those scenes are intentional and placed there for a reason, you know, even though it may not like seem like much. Very subtle stuff, and it's kind of how I make stuff too. But yeah, he's like the master of subtlety. He goes into this transition to where it's this YouTuber holding a knife saying support me, and you know, he's not directly saying he's threatening you. He's not like actually like threatening you, but it's implying that he's threatening you just through the actions, you know what I'm saying? And it's it's really ironic because, you know, every YouTuber just like drills and shoves that whole like button down your throat. You know, it kind of seems like it's becoming a way like, hey, support me or else something bad will happen, you know. He's just kind of pointing out, you know, that it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a threat, even though it's not. I love how here he shows his second take, or I love how here he shows the second take, right? It's, you know, showing that frustration, showing that build up, showing that frustration and showing that build up throughout the year, and how many times he's actually tried to get this perfect, you know. Yeah, it's not just showing you that one take that, you know, that was good. And also this scene right here, him on the floor recording, which is also something you would never see, but it's talking about, like in the song, how he feels like he can't be funny if there's no one else around him, you know, if he's just in his own room. Like, who else is going to laugh? Who's going to be there? Is it funny if no one's laughing, you know? Who knows? Like, you know, if the tree falls and no one hears it. that whole saying. He also has this beautiful moment in the show, right, or in the special, where he had been hoping to finish this special before his 30th birthday came around, and well, with that, he didn't make the goal, right? He didn't make that goal, and he just like lets you be a part of that experience, right? He lets you sit there, and with his last moments being 29 years old, right, in his 20s, his last moments in his 20s, he lets you sit there and witness it with him and just watch, you know. And I think that's kind of a beautiful scene in itself, right? Just a beautiful work of art in itself, let alone in this special, you know. Yeah, that goes to show how concepts and ideas by themselves can just be a form of art. A couple seconds in a moment can be art, you know. It doesn't have to be something on paper or something tangible either. He makes you feel like you're a part of a Beyonce-esque concert right here, but he's in his underwear. Bo Burnham has always used lights along with his music to tell his journey through his career and mental health, as he shows how brilliant he is with his light shows, bringing something that is very intimate and personal to a big screen audience on Netflix. He uses his casual comedy bits and songs, but they all tie into his overall narrative of his struggle with his profession and how he may be moving away from comedy, or wanting to show a more serious side of comedy. Most of the special is more serious than comedic, which has been a slow progression throughout his specials, each getting more serious. He makes this great song in the special, which very accurately describes and follows the fade into derealization, which I didn't even know could be done because it's a feeling of nothingness. But he does it, and it hits deep. With this, he shows that comedy is so much more than just being funny. He went from being a kid in his room dreaming of being a star, playing music, to being trapped in his room during a global pandemic with nothing to do but play music as his job. And he shows the pressure and stress he witnessed throughout filming and playing during an ongoing tragedy, but his job is to be funny, almost like he's being held hostage and being forced to be funny when everyone else is sad or dying.
It's almost over, it's just begun. Don't overthink this, look in my eye. Don't be scared, don't be shy. Come on in, the war is fine. Don't forget to roll, you don't have to see more than you want. Don't get hurt at all, you don't have to see more than you want.
And the final song is like a banger, I guess, to end on. And it's like it hits you right in the chest. It hits you hard too. I mean, at first it's like, you know, put your hands up. For me, right? Because like he's the, you know, he's the artist, right? He's asking you like, hey, as an audience member, can you put your hands up for me, right? You know, like everyone does, like hands up in the air, you know, sing along. And then he's like, also, you know, get your hands down and pray for me, because, so like, you know, basically like asking, you know, telling how all these people ask for like blessings and this, and like the best things to happen to them, and not really caring what about their fans. There's like, hey, just, you know, want me to be good, not you. And while the song's going on, right, he kind of slowly transforms it into more of put your hands up, right? Like put your hands in the air, all eyes on me. You know, then put your hands down and pray for me. You know, he's calling out cops in this, right? It's amazing how he switches those lyrics into making two different things in the same song, and he doesn't even tell you about that, right? He doesn't even tell you that that's what he's insinuating, but it's there. And then he'll tell you, and basically at the last part, the last ending song, he replays, you know, the hands up in the air thing, and he also replays the look who's inside again part, and it does hit. Like you're like, well, dang, okay. And I haven't seen that much, if ever someone's used lyrics for double meanings like that before. And I really like it, and it's very inspirational to me, and yeah, pretty deep, and especially deep in these times where a lot of people are scared, and then scared of cops, and they're being, you know, cops are being brutal, and I don't know how. I mean, obviously you're going to be scared, and it shows that, like, not just, you know, and not just minorities should be afraid of cops. Everyone should be afraid of cops, especially if they're being, you know, they're abusing their power. It's a problem that should be stopped. No matter your race or anything like that, or position or whatever, what have you, class. But yeah. Boop.
Does anybody want to joke when no one's laughing in the background?
And this frame right here, like this whole entire thing showing like him as a silhouette, kind of, and then, you know, him inside of it, and the moon and all that stuff. You know, it's kind of just reflecting on the title of the name, inside. You know, not only is he inside his room, but he's inside his mind too, and you're inside his mind with this special.
Oh shit, they're really showing inside, but who's inside again? Up to the reason to hide again.
Damn, that's a deep callback right there, man. The ending might show how Bo Burnham wishes he could be that kid in his room again. And how he might have finally learned how to laugh along with the crowd laughing at his pain and struggles. So, yeah, that was performed, written, directed, edited, everything by Bo Burnham in his room, you know, which is super impressive, all things considered, especially like, you know, all the light situation. I mean, I don't know, all in the camera shots, you know, so many different angles were shown in that room, and it just shows how versatile you can be in one given area, and it shows his like YouTube background as well, because he started off on YouTube and making music and comedy there, and then got signed, and then got picked up to be an actual big comedian, So he's probably like one of the most successful YouTubers. Him and Filthy Frank, those two probably the most successful out of YouTubers. Besides PewDiePie, he's the only one stuck with YouTube. But yeah, honestly, we've got that guy. Both of them, honestly, maybe even have more than PewDiePie. They stuck with it, but they wanted to move on to more, creative passions. What they wanted to do. That makes sense. But yeah, it's a great special. I can't show all of it to you, but especially because I want you to watch it yourself. But yeah, go check it out on Netflix. I believe it's his third special, maybe his fourth, but yeah. This is like it really progresses with all of them. So like I suggest watching this one, but if you want to, if you are actually interested in his, go back through and watch, from which was his first ever special, and then watch through and you can see his progression. I hope you like the video. I know it's a little bit different, but everything's going to be a little bit different now. So yeah, I hope it's great. Hope you enjoyed. Y'all know what to do. Peace.